Welcome back. Nigerian returnees from Saudi Arabia got engaged in a row after being informed they would have to observe the mandatory COVID-19 quarantine. They claimed they returned with negative COVID-19 results and should not be quarantined. Efforts to dissuade them didn't match results. Muya Thomas was there.
424 stranded Nigerians repatriated from Saudi Arabia are now in Abuja. The Saudi Arabian airline flight SV3413 touched down at about 12 noon, returning 128 men, 296 women and children, totaling 424 aboard. The returnees were assembled at the lounge of the arrival wing of the Hajj International Airport, where officials addressed them. A shouting bout broke out when an official told them they would be mandatorily quarantined.
Nigeria is not left out. One of those measures is to ensure institutional quarantine for returnees into the country.
They all insisted on going home.
We cannot quarantine. We are all negative. It's negative.
Attempts by officials to reason with them made no difference.
You don't want to eat?
Ambassador Bolaji Akiremi, who also tried to dissuade them, says their agitation was a result of stress.
When I arrive here, they are not sure of what they are going to meet, because some of them have been in camps for more than months. And so they heard that they are going to be kept in camp again. They thought it's going to be for a very long time.
According to him, the quarantine is also to help them settle in.
This is the desire of government to give them a kind of welfare that will give them a new orientation that they have experienced. Secondly, they were thinking that they will have to transport themselves. I'm also going to assure them that we are arranging transport for them. They are also thinking that they will feed themselves for the period of quarantine. I'm also going to assure them that during the period of quarantine, that food, drinks has been prepared for them.
They were eventually taken through immigration processes as men returned with emergency travel certificates, etc. Nigeria's COVID-19 protocol for travelers insists travelers must have a negative COVID-19 PCR test done not more than 4 days before arrival. Upon arrival in Nigeria, returnees are expected to be on a 7-day mandatory self-isolation or quarantine.
Efforts by officials to calm them down and assure them of their safety and well-being obviously did not go down well with them, as it still ended in a rowdy session. Muya Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
Moyo joins me now for more on that development. Were the returnees only learning about the 14-day mandatory quarantine after, or rather on arrival in the country?
As it seemed from what we gathered from the breakout of the incident, we realized that they didn't know they would be quarantined until the official that announced it to them made that announcement. And then that was when all of them just in a row shouted that they were not going to be quarantined, that they are sure of their COVID-19 negative result, which they showed us, that they are all negative, so there was no need for the quarantine. And going by the reversed policy of protocol of Nigeria on the quarantine situation, Nigeria also announced that quarantine will now be done at individual houses to reduce the burden on government, rather than have them quarantined together. But from what the foreign affairs official that also received them said, the quarantine this time around is not only because of COVID, it is also to help them get their balance back and reintegrate back into Nigeria, considering what their experience in Saudi Arabia had been before now. So it's not just because of the COVID is the reason why they needed to quarantine them. It's also to profile them and help them learn a skill, to help them in ways that they can easily reintegrate and also help them to get back to their base, make arrangements for them to get back to their various states.
How is that matter now being resolved, Moyo?
As at the time we left, they were taking them to the Hajj camp, which was exclusive. We were not allowed to go there as at that moment because they said they needed them to settle down and they didn't want cameras on their faces at that time. Though some of them were still refusing, that they didn't want to enter the bus, but eventually the officials made them understand that this is the arrangement of the federal government and they needed to comply.
What more do you know about the quality of provision on the part of government during this 14-day quarantine? We probably will get back to Moyo for more on that development. Moyo Thomas live for us in Abuja.